Enough is enough. They say choose our battles, but once somebody has chosen to battle us, we have now chosen our battle. Welcome to Alliance Against Communism, where people of traditional faith come together to defeat a common enemy. Communists have to destroy what is called the Four O's to implement communism: traditional custom, culture, habits, and ideas. We of AAC will use traditional custom, culture, habits, and ideas to destroy these godless bastards wherever they are. Moral subversion is done. Their time is up. It's time to fight back. Let's take the fight to them together. Join us today as we fight the good fight. If you are too afraid to tell the truth, they already won. Okay, welcome to AAC, Alliance Against Communism. I'd like to thank you for listening to our first episode. This is our second episode, and I really appreciate all the likes and all the follows and all the comments. And like I said, I've been commenting and posting a lot, and I made sure to respond to everybody's comment, or at least like it, because I do read all your comments, and I really appreciate it. And Eric also appreciates it, I think. Do you?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you very much.
And please share and comment as much as possible. Like I said, I look at our page all the time, and this is our passion, and I love doing this. And we want to make a big change in America and the West. So this means a lot to us.
Absolutely, and we're doing it for everyone, not just ourselves.
So this is going to be episode number 2, and this is kind of basically why we left the left. Believe it or not, that I was actually a Democrat, and I was actually, a leftist, basically when I was growing up. And it's, believe it or not, I was. Were you ever a Democrat at one time?
Unfortunately, I was.
So yes, I was a self-hating white Democrat for a long time. I was a leftist. Basically, and this is going to be kind of our episode of how we kind of left the left and got into the right, and that's kind of what we're doing. So basically, what groupthink is. See, the problem with the left is that they are stuck in what is called groupthink. Now, how I interpret groupthink is deceiving yourself and then conforming to a group's beliefs and values. So it doesn't matter what you believe, you just want to conform to the group, and you want to conform to that even if you have to deceive yourself. For example, if you are intrinsically against abortion, okay, and your party is for abortion, so you want to conform to the group even though you are against what they believe. So it's basically deceiving yourself and then going with the group. Now, if you see what these leftists do is that they are completely in this collective groupthink, where they basically just follow the group, the collective, and they just follow this groupthink. And that's when I got out of the left, because I started thinking for myself. Instead of always following what other people would think, or how I should control the language, according to how they want me to talk, then that's what I stopped doing that. I just simply said, you know what, I'm going to be honest with myself. I looked at certain things. I took the information at hand, and I just used that information, and I formed my own opinions and my own beliefs, and I just started following myself. And not myself in my own ego, but just following my own feelings upon situations and using the information at hand.
Okay, so bouncing off of the concept that Chris brought up of groupthink, I find the concept of being a progressive completely ridiculous. The ideas of someone like me that considers themselves like a conservative libertarian is all people, regardless of gender, race, religious affiliation, all have the right to be free and to make their own decisions. I will not hold the standards of one over the standards of another. Everyone should be held to the same laws and social standings. Giving someone a leg up because of their gender or their race is, again, ridiculous. I despise Marxist ideas and judging and categorizing people as a collective, not an individual.
See, that is the problem with Marxism and communism and this leftist, Marxist-inspired leftism, is that basically it's always about the collective, and they're always about equity. And see, the problem is I believe in meritocracy. Okay, so basically, if you put the work in, you get the results. So the problem with the leftists is that they want to make everybody equal, So what they want to do is they want to take people and put them on the same level playing field, even though they're not in reality equal. For example, my dad was telling me earlier today, I asked him, because my dad actually grew up in communism. My parents are actually from Eastern Europe. And I asked my dad, what was the one thing about communism that you hated? And he said it was this equity principle. So basically, communism is basically, you have two classes, which is the bourgeoisie and the proletariat. The proletariat is the working class. The bourgeoisie is the person who owns the means of production. They're more of the aristocrat. They're more of the smart people, the intellectuals, right?
Or the people of means.
The people of means. So basically, my dad said that in order to get into college, they had the point system. Okay. So basically, if you were the son of a laborer or the son of a proletariat, like somebody that doesn't have any means or somebody that kind of just is mediocre, you would get extra points, okay? And the person that was born in privilege, who had maybe his father was a doctor and that he worked really hard, you would get no points, okay? So the people that didn't really have the merit to get into the college got in, and the people that really deserved to get into the college based upon merit, they didn't get in. So my dad said his best friend tried for 3 years to get into medical school, and because he was the son of a doctor, he didn't have the points, he couldn't get in. But all these other people that didn't deserve it got in. So after 3 years, he just stopped and he took a cruise ship, and he literally jumped off the cruise ship and took asylum to another country and became a doctor there. So this guy, no matter what stopped him, he became a doctor, even if he had to jump off a cruise ship to become a doctor to get away from communism. It was so bad. So the bottom line is this equity thing he's talking about is the problem. You can't put everybody in the same playing field, okay? For example, what's going on in schools today is that you have people of color are not doing good at math as good as white people, for example. Or Asians. So what they're trying to do is, in order to make everybody equity, they're trying to lower the standards for people of color so they can be equitable with white people and Asians and all the other people. I just think that's inherently stupid.
It's ridiculous. Do you think that they're going to do that on the basketball court?
Yeah. So what she said. So can we do that in the football court? Or since black people have a better tendency to do better on football, right? I mean, in a lot of ways, they're better running and all this stuff. So does that mean that we have to lower the standards in football so that white people can compete with black people on the field?
Absolutely not.
It's just stupid. It's stupid. So, like, this whole equity thing that this leftist is doing is absolute bullshit.
Well, equity is impossible. If you look at studies done with families, you look at the oldest in the family typically does better than all the other siblings. This is just statistical fact. It's obviously not in every single case, but when you look at it, you're getting the same opportunities in this family. You have the same mother, the same father, but you don't have the same outcomes. So if you're not having the same outcomes in the same family, the same equity, how is that ever going to sustain in society?
And one thing that troubles me about this whole equity thing is because it's pure fucking manipulation. Okay? The bottom line is, if you want to move up in the world, you put the work in and you get the results. You see, these leftists are degenerate pieces of shit. They don't want to put the work in. So in order for me to get something, I have to put the work in to get the results, right? The leftist basically is a lazy piece of shit who wants to get the results without putting the work in. So what they want to do is they want to manipulate your way into whatever field they want to get into, and because they don't want to do it by hard work, they want you to respect them. They want to manipulate you to respect them. You see what I'm saying? For me, to get somebody to respect me, it's a process, okay? I have to show good character, honesty, integrity, hard work, all these things to get somebody's respect, right? That's how you get somebody's respect.
Well, respect is earned.
It's earned, exactly. These leftists, these degenerates want respect without earning it. You see what I'm saying? That's what they want. They want position without earning it. So they manipulate their way into everything. Oh, they talk about racism. Oh my God, racism is everywhere. And they they always talk about this stupid racist rhetoric to get themselves into everywhere, to manipulate everybody. And that day is fucking done. I'm holding everybody to the same fucking standard. I'm not going to get manipulated by no bullshit anymore. You put the hard work in, you get the results. You want respect, you fucking earn it.
Absolutely. I refuse to follow it. I'll never violate my conscience to please anyone. I will not submit to the mob.
Submitting to the mob is the stupidest thing in the world, and that's what groupthink is. And one of the reasons why I left the left was because the left is following this leftist disgusting groupthink based on this collectivism. And if you start really being honest with yourself, how you feel about things, It's just being honest with it and taking the information at hand and using that and being honest with yourself. You will no longer follow the group. You will start thinking for yourself, and you will become more of a conservative. That's what happened to me.
I think that's what happens to everybody. There's a famous quote by Winston Churchill, and he simply says that when in your 20s, if you're not a rebel, you have no heart. If you're not a conservative by 40, you have no brains.
Wow, so that really explains it right then and there. All right. So the bottom line is, why I left the left is because I kept on seeing the hypocrisy of the left. For example, I mean, you had the January 6th incident that these stupid, degenerate leftists keep on talking about over and over again. I mean, they're literally putting almost all their time into going after the January 6th people. That's all they talk about. That's all they go after, right?
Because that's all they have.
That's all they have. And so they talk about, and you see them with their stupid Black Lives Matter, Antifa rhetoric. They want to defund the police. They want to tear down the border walls. They want to disarm everybody. But if you look at the leftists themselves, they surround themselves by walls. They surround themselves with security guards. They surround themselves with guns, but they don't want you to be surrounded by walls, have guns, or protect yourself. It's just pure hypocrisy.
Well, that was exactly what Chris is talking about, the January 6th. They tell us that we can't build walls, that we can't protect ourselves with our own weapons. And then this happens in January, and what do? They surround the Capitol building with fences and protect it with armed guards.
So what does that tell you?
Pure hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy. That's what's going on with the left.
The main reason that I left the left, if you can even consider myself or anyone that knew me a leftist, was, as Chris was talking about, the hypocrisy. I loathe the concept of someone being a hypocrite. You either stand by your convictions or don't say a word. And another thing that bothered me the most is the concept of controlling speech. I despise the concept of buzzwords.
Can you explain what do you mean by buzzwords?
Well, like controlling the English language. If an individual doesn't agree with your belief or your thinking, they may hurl meaningless buzzwords at you, such as racism, bigot, homophobic, xenophobic, sexism, so forth.
See, that's what the left does. That's one of the leftist strategies. See, they stifle free speech. Like, if we want to say something, they call that, that's white supremacy. Oh, you're a Nazi. Oh, you're a racist. So they throw anything that you say, anything, they throw something at you to silence you. This is another pure manipulation bullshit that the left uses. And that day is done, and I'm sick of that. We're going to speak our minds. I don't care what you call us, racist, all this bullshit. It's either you speak your mind or you don't speak your mind.
Well, these words over the last decade have lost their meaning. I mean, calling a woman is not sexist. She is a woman. Calling a man is not sexist. Calling a terrorist is not xenophobic.
Calling a criminal is not racist, or it's not whatever the hell you call it. I'm getting sick of all these stupid words that these leftists use to put you in, to silence you. All they're trying to do is stifle your free speech. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to control your language, to control your culture, because they're trying to dominate you. So either you choose to be dominated or you dominate. If you go under them, you stay under. So the bottom line is, I refuse to conform to the leftist culture. I will create my own culture. I will follow my own heart and soul, and I will be true to myself and be authentic to myself. And I will not bow down, and I will not be dominated by a leftist culture that they're trying to do. I will create my own culture. I don't need to go under these leftists. I refuse to go under this leftist.
And everybody should refuse this. Anyone that believes in themselves and believes in free thinking and putting their own agendas in front of someone else's agenda, this is exactly how they should be feeling.
Bottom line is, it comes down to, I'm sorry, I had to put everything to the alpha male, because the alpha male is something that we need to talk about. And I'll bring up this a lot. The bottom line is, you need to start putting your interests first. for years and years, like the Western man we've always tried to make the way for everybody else. If we have a privilege, they make us feel guilty of the privilege. Oh God, I have white privilege. I gotta bend the way for somebody of color or somebody of this so they can get into my way. I gotta feel guilty for any type of advantage that I have or that I worked for or that basically I deserve because I put the work and I get the results. So I gotta bend the way for somebody else. That day is done. But bottom line is, if I have a privilege, I'm taking that fucking privilege, okay? Period. If I have a privilege, I work for it, and I'm not going to feel guilty about it, and I'm not going to follow this leftist culture crap. I'm not going to follow this equity crap. I do the work, I get the results. If you don't do the work, you don't get the results. As simple as that.
So that is not privilege. So think about it. We're both heterosexual Christian males. No one walked up to us and gave us a corporate job, a corporate jet, beautiful women to lick our toes. Everything that we have, we worked for and earned. No one gave it to us.
See, I went to school for almost 18 years straight after high school. I have 2 master's degrees. Did somebody give me those master's degrees? I worked my ass off for those master's degrees. I worked my ass off for the position that I have. And supposedly I got to feel guilty because I put the work in and get the results for some degenerate piece of shit that doesn't want to put the work in to get the results? Fuck that.
Absolutely not. I earned my degrees. The homes that I have purchased and fixed myself, the money that I have made, I did this myself. If I didn't work on these houses, they would be sitting stagnant and be dilapidated right now.
And the last thing I want to say is that the welfare fraud that's going on in this country, this just comes to my mind, how people are abusing the welfare system to the point where we have people like me and Eric that are busting our ass every day, and we have lazy, degenerate pieces of shit taking advantage of the welfare system and getting paid for doing nothing, and welfare fraud is at an all-time high right now, and we got fucking leftists in power just turning the blind eye.
Well, that's the sad thing about this, the COVID thing and handing out free money. And what it did is it showed the true colors of people.
Exactly.
People don't want to work. It's going back to what you were saying. People want to be lazy and they want to get paid for it. See, and that needs to stop.
That's how communism starts. People don't want to. They get lazy and they want the government to take care of them.
They become dependent.
They become dependent, and you become dependent on the state. You just don't know that you're trading your entire freedom because dependency is the ultimate form of control.
That's what this COVID thing was. Is giving up your freedoms.
And that's what I want to stop. I want to completely stop. And you know, when COVID hit, I remember the day that COVID hit, and everybody was saying, I'm not going to work, and they're just going to collect unemployment and sit back. I did the fucking opposite. I said, fuck this. I'm not going to become anybody like this dude. My business actually shot off during COVID when I had my business, and I worked my ass off during COVID. I did not sit back and collect unemployment. I did the opposite. I refused to be a piece of shit, degenerate, dependent slave. I refused. And this has got to stop. You know, you got people getting welfare. We have welfare classes fucking coming out, like people born in fucking welfare, and then they just create more welfare, where we have a fucking country of degenerate dependence.
That's been going on for decades.
Freedom. The West and freedom is built on self-reliant people. That's the heart of the West. To be free, you have to be self-reliant, and yet the country is turning into be dependent pieces of shit. They're fucking elevating dependent pieces of shit, and they're calling fucking self-reliant people evil, racists, all these different terms.
Well, they're not even calling criminals anymore. They're victimizing criminals.
And they're putting criminals on a pedestal, you know, like that's what's going on. I mean, like
George Floyd. They have busts of George Floyd. He was a 5-time felon, martyring a criminal.
So here's the problem with George Floyd. Look, I think, okay, you know, I worked in law enforcement, and I think what the officer did was wrong, okay, but I'm not saying that he did was right. But George Floyd was not a good person, okay? He was a criminal. He was engaged in a criminal act, and he's not a saint. They're making freaking statues of Jesus compared to George Floyd. I mean, that's crazy. This guy they're comparing Jesus to George Floyd.
It's disgusting.
And they're making fucking statues of George Floyd, and these same pieces of shit leftists are taking down our founding fathers' statues. They want to take down the Thomas Jefferson statue. I don't know if I think they already did. They're taking down our history and they're putting statues of fucking degenerates up there. I mean, if that doesn't wake you up, then what the fuck would wake you up?
That's what they want to do, is turn the West into shit.
Exactly, and that's why we're here, and that's why we left the left, and we're going to keep on going, and we're going to continue to fight this fight. So that concludes our episode 2, and like I said, I want to thank you so much for listening. I know I get a little emotional because I'm very passionate about this, and sometimes I repeat myself. So I want to talk about, I repeat myself sometimes because when I worked in law enforcement, I was dealing with degenerate pieces of shit, so I had to say the same thing 3 to 4 times for it to get to register in their brain. So unfortunately, that's stuck with me. So if you hear me repeat myself sometimes, I apologize. It's just part of my, when I was dealing with criminals for so long that I have to repeat myself over and over again. It's just stuck in my culture, stuck in my basically it's stuck in me, so I'm never be able to get that out, so I'll do my best. So I appreciate you listening, and like I said, I get somewhat emotional a little bit because I'm very passionate about this, and like I please ask you to please share this, tell your friends about Alliance Against Communism. Let's create a movement in this country. Let's change this country.
Well, I'd appreciate for all of you to bear in mind that Chris and I wanted to develop this as a conversational thing, that it's a conversation between the two of us, but it's a conversation that the nation, that we both believe needs to have.
That's good. I really believe in that. And like I said, thank you so much. And we'll be seeing you for the next episode. And please stay tuned for our page because I constantly post stuff. And like I said, I really appreciate your comments. And I do try to, to read all your comments. And I do like all your comments to show you that I read it. And I do appreciate any engagement. And please share and please tell your friends.
Thank you.
Thank you.